Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the interview with Meghan Markle in Variety? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. 3 of my recent videos on Patreon have cryptic titles like Reckless Hitman, Killer Digs in Her Heels, and Millionaire Mistress Murder. I will put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. First, I'll briefly look at the background of Meghan Markle, move to the summary of the interview, then offer my analysis. Meghan Markle is an American actress who married Prince Harry in May of 2018 and became the Duchess of Sussex. In January of 2020, Harry and Meghan announced that they were going to step back as senior members of the royal family. Ultimately, they moved to California and started what appears to be an aimless series of business ventures in an effort to spread the message about how great they are. In August of 2022, the first episode of Meghan's podcast titled Archetypes was released, and an interview she gave to Cut magazine was published. I've covered both the podcast and this interview in other videos. Both of these items appear to have the same objective, to promote Meghan as a gift to the world who should be glorified for many years to come. In addition, Meghan wants the world to know that she has been terribly mistreated by the British royal family and misunderstood by the public. She is a hero who has been wrongly cast as a villain. The podcast and the interview did not achieve Meghan's objective. Rather, they only perpetuated her ever-growing unpopularity. In an effort to promote even more disapproval, Meghan granted an interview to the media company Variety. The interview was originally given before Queen Elizabeth II died. Therefore, Meghan was given an opportunity to update the interview and include her feelings in light of the Queen's death. Here is a summary of the interview in Variety. Much of this is paraphrased. The article started by talking about how Meghan Markle has led an incredible life. She met and married a handsome prince, beloved by all the world. Meghan has been described as relatable and similar to Diana, Princess of Wales. The article acknowledged that some people are not fans and view Meghan as calculating and disingenuous. The public hasn't seen the other side of Meghan, the nerdy American mom who watches Jeopardy and plays word games. She gave a photo shoot for Variety, during which she shook the hand of every crew member and was completely at ease. Meghan spontaneously laughed and looked like a princess in a Hollywood movie. Meghan talked about how, when she traveled to the UK after the Queen died, she was warmly received by thousands of British citizens. She was grateful to have known the Queen and called her a shining example of female leadership. Meghan then talked at length about how celebrated her Archetypes podcast is and generally offered a positive view of her different endeavors. When talking about the upcoming Netflix documentary about the couple, Meghan said that she trusted the director with the story, quote, even if it means it may not be the way we would have told it, unquote. Sounds like there's trouble in paradise. Who could have imagined that a multi-million-dollar deal between the couple and Netflix would not go as planned? Meghan was asked what the largest misconceptions are about her. She suggested that when there's a lot of noise, people become dehumanized. If the public can remember that someone is a human being, they will treat them better. She hopes that people listening to the podcast will think, quote, oh, she's a real person. She laughs and asks questions and approaches things with curiosity, unquote. Meghan then talked about her podcast episode with Paris Hilton and how she was embarrassed to admit that she was initially judgmental of Paris. Meghan added, quote, but I also didn't grow up pretty, unquote. She claimed that she grew up as the smart one. The conversation then shifted to Meghan's time in Hollywood. She said that she left the TV show Suits in 2018 after acting in 100 episodes. Hollywood was toxic back then. She just had to deal with the discomfort and live with the idea of staying silent. She promised never to return to acting. I take this as kind of a peace offering to the world. Meghan talked about her relationship with Prince Harry and how people respond to that. She suggested that people from all over the world connected to the love story between her and her husband. They were attracted to the love that the couple shares. Meghan doesn't define love as just partner love, but also love of family and community, as well as self-love. I imagine not too many people would be surprised that Meghan is a big fan of self-love. Meghan said that she would support her children if they wanted to work in the entertainment industry. As parents, she and Harry are raising multidimensional, interesting, kind, creative people. Meghan was asked what advice she would give to an actor who was cast to play her 100 years from now. She hoped the actor would find her laughter, playfulness, softness, and silliness. In addition, Meghan said, quote, "She can call me," unquote. This is quite kind of Meghan, but I wonder if she will still be in the best state of mind to offer advice at the age of 141. Meghan walked through her typical workday. She and Harry work from home and get on a lot of Zoom calls. They also divide their efforts to create even greater productivity. The interview ended with Meghan talking about eating giant chocolate chip cookies. Now moving to my analysis. Here are my thoughts on a few areas that stood out to me in this interview. Item number 1, there is this sense that Meghan tried to play it safe in this interview. She did not reveal anything surprising or edgy. Rather, she tried to color inside the lines. Even still, a person cannot outrun their personality. This is a reality that Meghan has discovered in the past with other interviews. She came into this interview with the game plan of not giving away anything that could be used to support a negative opinion of her, but she just couldn't help herself. Her true character entered the interview despite her best efforts. For example, several times in the interview, she made it clear that she was intellectually superior. She talked about how people were in love with the relationship she had with Harry, essentially saying that their relationship is ideal and people should strive to be as amazing as they are. And she hinted that Netflix was not telling her story in the way that she would have wanted. Even when making millions of dollars from Netflix, Meghan finds a way to be the victim. This is like her superpower. Item number 2, it appears as though Meghan Markle desperately wants to rehabilitate her public image. She's not happy with the way that people view her. Instead of changing her behavior, she decided to simply tell people how they should feel about her. I guess that was just easier. Meghan wants the world to view her as she views herself, which of course must be the correct way to view her. She attempted to portray herself as an intellectual, not someone merely valued for their appearances. She wanted to establish herself as relatable. For example, she and Harry like fast food restaurants and chocolate chip cookies. They are driven by a contingent of bodyguards in a luxury car from their $14 million mansion to retrieve fast food, just like regular people. During the interview, Meghan emphasized that she's a real person. Obviously, Meghan is a real person, and her feelings as a person should be respected. Nobody is saying that Meghan is not human, like no one is saying that she is an alien lizard humanoid or something. Well, maybe some people argue in favor of this theory because of her connection to royalty, but most people are not on board with the lizard theory. Meghan's statement about being human seems obvious and unnecessary. Sometimes, when a person makes the argument that they are in fact a real person, what they're essentially saying is that no one has the right to criticize them. Any criticism can be dismissed because the critic is trying to take away the person's humanness. Almost like the person is saying, "How dare anyone say anything negative about me? Clearly, they don't recognize how amazing I really am. They don't see the real me, or even recognize my basic dignity as a human being." Meghan may not be aware of this, but a person can be criticized and be a human being simultaneously. There is no question that some people have taken disliking Meghan to an inappropriate extreme, but most people who do not appreciate Meghan still believe that she is a human being. Item number 3, Meghan talked about how it's important to be seen. I find this phrase interesting. One could argue that Meghan is seen more than most people on the planet. Regrettably, all she seems to do is get seen. How much more being seen does she want? I think this connects back with changing people's views. In Meghan's estimation, her critics are failing to see her as she really is. This is about controlling her image. Item number 4, The interview with Variety is notable for what is absent. There was a lot missing. Meghan dodged many of the questions. Perhaps this signals that she will no longer talk about certain topics, like the frosty relationship with the royal family, or maybe she just didn't want to talk about those topics during this interview. I imagine that Meghan's strong desire to be a victim will come out in future statements or interviews, but this was still a hopeful sign that Meghan has a good deal of self-control. She resisted the urge to bash the British royal family. Something else that's missing from this interview is any mention of Meghan's shortcomings. I imagine she pondered that topic, but just couldn't come up with any ideas. Item number 5. Considering the other items I have covered here, did Meghan make progress in her effort to improve her public image? Here are my thoughts on this. Meghan knows that many people think of her as someone trying to play the victim, and she's not happy about her behavior being accurately interpreted. She wants to convert everyone to a fan. There are many people who are highly devoted to Meghan Markle. She will probably not alienate those superfans, no matter what she does. Similarly, for people who despise Meghan to an extreme, no behavior is going to move the needle in her favor. This leaves Meghan trying to appeal to people in the middle, like members of the public who may not be committed to liking or disliking her. Rather, they are open to considering new information. They are reserving judgment. This is the undecided vote. I think Meghan was trying to appeal to this group of people, and overall, I believe that she was successful. Meghan's victim mentality may have come through a bit in the interview, but it wasn't out of control. At the very least, it was clear that she was trying to be more down-to-earth and relatable. I'm not sure that she was actually more relatable, but I think the effort does matter. People may look at this interview and think, okay, at least she's trying. She understands how the appearance of grandiosity is not flattering, and she is attempting to correct her course. This is an admirable effort. Now moving to my final thoughts. For better or worse, Meghan Markle is permanently notorious. Well, at least for the next 100 years. Everything that Meghan does will be of interest to the public. I don't think that this interview rehabilitated her image in some massive way, but it did offer some hope that Meghan will not play the role of privileged victim for the rest of her life. She is able to adapt to circumstances. Perhaps when Meghan turns 141 years old, she will look back at this interview as a turning point, only to be interrupted by a young actor calling her on the phone, looking for advice on how to play Meghan for an upcoming movie titled Meghan Markle, the inspiring royal victim who taught the world to love her. This may seem like a strange title, but I predict in the future, victims will be the new heroes. 100 years from now, everybody is going to want to be a victim. Meghan should think about that before she changes her image too much. Her current image might be exactly what the future is looking for. Those are my thoughts on the Meghan Markle interview in Variety. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comments section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be as intriguing as a multi-dimensional, creative, relatable, super intelligent, quasi-royal. Thanks for watching.